Welcome to Health Watch, presented by Novant Health. I'm your host, June Baker. Our show features local physicians and healthcare professionals discussing topics of interest to local residents. Today, we will be speaking with Susan Long and Ben Stiers from the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation regarding an upcoming event. Next, we will meet one of the newest members of Brunswick Women's Center, Dr. Lee Toller. Lastly, we will learn what it takes to keep a facility like Brunswick Novant Medical Center running smoothly by talking with its manager of facility services, Darren McKeithen. Stay tuned for the next half hour as we bring you Health Watch. Let's first welcome Susan Long and Ben Stiers with the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation. Well, welcome Susan and Ben to our show today. It's so nice to have you here. And I understand that the two of you are members of the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation Board.
We are.
That's correct.
And before we get into that, I'd like to learn a little bit more about Susan and Ben. So we'll start with the ladies first. Is that okay with you, Ben?
That's fine, yeah.
That sounds
Susan,
great.
tell me about yourself and what you do.
Okay, sure, June. Well, June, you know, I work at Brunswick Community College, and I'm the executive director of the foundation, and in particular, we are the department that does all the fundraising for the college, and in particular, we raise a lot of money for scholarships. So being on the foundation here at the hospital kind of lends me to be able to do the same thing in a different capacity in the community, and I'm really excited about being on this board.
I'm sure they're excited to have you here.
Thank you.
And you bring with it so much experience. I'm sure they're going to tap into that.
Well, I hope so, and I hope I'll be able to do as much for them as I do for the college.
Well, that's great. So, Ben, what is it that you do?
Well, June, I'm a realtor with Southport Realty in downtown Southport. I'm on the waterfront.
Where everybody wants to be.
Where everybody wants to be. I love it. I'm also involved with Brunswick County Association of Realtors. I'm treasurer of the association.
And what does that do? What does that realtor board do?
Realtor board, we have about 700 members in Brunswick County, and we just are their arm, the legal arm, the go-to people.
Oh, sure.
I'm on the board of directors there. I'm also on the executive committee. And, you know, we try to keep our finances up to where they should be. And
The Realtors Board, isn't it located on Stone Chimney, at Stone Chimney Place?
It is, and I'm glad you brought that up. That fantastic facility. It's 101 Stone Chimney is the banquet center part of Brunswick County Association of Realtors.
Oh, I see. I think we'll talk a little bit more about that later when we get into the event.
It is an excellent facility.
Well, let's talk about the Brunswick Novant Medical Center Foundation Board. Let's talk about what it is they do, what they're all about, and
Susan, you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. Well, you know, to me, the mission of the foundation is to really support the hospital in every endeavor, but in particular, I think we serve as a community liaison to make the community aware of what's going on at the hospital. And of course, one of our major jobs, I would think, is the fundraising part of, you know, the foundation. And you know, we're always looking for new ideas, and of course, we've already started that. Is in progress, and we've already had one event. But I really think it is just a part of the hospital where it's an arm that reaches out to the community.
And Susan, if I could just add something to that, you know, it's what we do is used strictly for the hospital and their programs, the Women and Children's Health Awareness Program. And it doesn't go to the facility site, construction part of that.
Yeah, it's for services.
This is all services, all service driven.
That's really good to know, and I know our viewers would be interested in that. I'm curious, how long has the board been in existence? It's relatively new, I believe.
It is. We're into our second year now.
Right.
Yeah. So we have 12 members on our board, made up of mayors of some of our local areas here.
Just
judicial.
different walks.
Retired
different walks of
nurse,
life.
we do.
Oh, there's some clinical
We have a
people on there?
judge. We have a judge that's
Really?
on our
We do,
board.
yeah.
We have business owners.
Uh-huh.
So I think we have a great variety of board members, and they're pretty much located strategically
Yeah,
around the county,
absolutely.
too, as
Yeah,
well.
they are.
So they represent the entire county of Brunswick, so
Yes.
to speak.
Absolutely, I think so, yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, gee, I'm interested to hear more about this. Now, I believe you said there are 12 members?
12 members.
But you two are members of a subcommittee, I believe, working
We are.
on an event. And so I think that our primary focus today was to talk about that event. So who would like to start?
Well, I'll start, June. We are excited. On April the 12th, we're going to be hosting our second event that the foundation has done so far. And this is going to be a gala, and it's going to be called Paris in Springtime.
Oh,
That's right, and it's going to be themed just as the title says, Paris in Springtime. We're excited about what we're going to be doing inside of Stone Chimney.
Right.
We're going to create an atmosphere that you're actually on the streets of Paris.
I tell you,
Wow.
it's looking the pre-planning is going well. I think we're all excited about it.
well, what are some of the things that we can look for when we enter this beautiful facility, which is in of itself is a beautiful facility.
It absolutely
101
is.
Stone Chimney is
It
a
is.
gorgeous
It really
place,
is.
and that you're going to transform it into Paris in the springtime. Our next guest is Dr. Lee Toller with Brunswick Women's Center. Well, Dr. Toller, welcome to the show today. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to meet you as well.
Thank you. Now, I understand that you're fairly new at Brunswick Women's Center, where you're currently employed. How long have you been at the practice?
I've been there about 6 months, since around September of last year. I came down from Gastonia, which is outside of Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, I'm curious about your background and your education. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Actually, I moved down from West Virginia.
Really? I'm from West Virginia.
Yeah. Born and raised. I've been there for a long time, but the winters finally got the best of me.
Right.
And I started coming down this way. I was in Gastonia for about a year, but I'd actually met my wife, who's from this area, so we wanted to be a little closer to the coast and to family. Also, too, with the Brunswick Women's Center, I feel like there's a good opportunity there that the practice is growing, and it seems to be a vibrant community and a good place to be right now.
I would agree. Where did you go to medical school?
I went to the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine, which is in Lewisburg, West Virginia.
And so you're a DO.
I'm a DO, yes.
And where did you do your undergraduate studies?
Undergraduate was in Beckley, West Virginia, and it was actually a nursing degree at Bluefield State Community College.
Oh, you were a nurse first?
I was a nurse for 10 years.
Wow, that's interesting.
And then after 10 years, I was interested in going further with my education, and I wasn't sure exactly how to approach it. Had thought about doing an advanced nursing degree, but talked to several friends who encouraged me to go ahead and consider medicine, and I did, and that's how I got here. Yes, ma'am.
And here you are. I bet coming from a nursing background, it gives you a different perspective on medicine, I would think.
It does. It gives me more of a holistic perspective, which actually
That's a good
meshes.
thing.
It is, and it meshes real well with the osteopathic philosophy of trying to incorporate seeing the person as a whole instead of just as a set of numbers.
Yes. We've had physicians in the past on who were DOs and talked about that philosophy, and I think that's a very unique philosophy. I really like that. I love the holistic aspect of osteopathic medicine.
That's one of the things that very much attracted me to the osteopathic profession.
Recently, we had the opportunity to meet one of your other partners, Dr. Edward Wu, and I understand that just recently you've got another partner, another new partner, and has joined the practice, and her name is Dr. Li Xu.
Dr. Li Xu, yes.
How many physicians total are in your practice now?
We have 4 total. We have 2 men and 2 women. We feel like that gives us a good balance. That
Sure.
was some of that, when you interview people or you're looking for physicians, we always look at who's the best qualified candidate.
Of course.
Right. But we also wanted to make sure that we had providers, men and women, because some people prefer to have a provider who's one gender or the other. So.
Correct. Yeah. And who is the other member of your, besides Dr. Xu and Dr. Wu, who is the other one?
Tracy McCarthy.
Tracy McCarthy. And she's been here for a while.
She's been here for several years, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a really great practice, and I
absolutely.
think we're lucky to have you in the area. And I know that there are a lot of women out there who do prefer one gender over another, so you give them both options.
Correct.
And that's good. Now, you provide both obstetrical as well as gynecological care. Is that correct?
That's correct. And interestingly enough, I've been asked that question several times.
Really?
Everybody knows that obstetricians deliver babies.
Sure.
And they'll say, well, if you have other problems like where you would need a hysterectomy or a C-section, who do you go see? And well, we do all of that. So
right.
We take care of women usually starting around the time that they start having menstrual cycles through the rest of their life.
Really? Let's now welcome Darren McKeithen, Manager of Plant Engineering Services at Brunswick Novant Medical Center. Darren, thank you so much for being here today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, June. It's great to be here.
Good. Now, I believe your title is Manager of Plant Engineering Services. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And how long have you been with Brunswick Novant Medical Center?
June, I've been with Brunswick now for about 2.5 years or so. 2 of those years were at the old facility, which is basically 3 miles south of our new site.
Right.
It was a great place to work. Always our goal is patient safety at both facilities. And as any of our customers or patients see when they come in, obviously physically the facility is very beautiful, far and apart better than where we were. But our ultimate goal, patient safety, has followed us from our old facility to the new.
That's wonderful news. Where were you prior to coming to Brunswick Novant Medical Center and previously Brunswick Community Hospital?
June, I spent some 14 years at Columbus Regional Healthcare System.
Oh, so you're very familiar with hospital.
I am. My last post was Assistant Vice President of Support Services, which was, I had senior leadership for 9 departments, one of those being Plant Engineering Services. And when the position opened up here at my home, I grew up here in Charlotte, it was great to have the opportunity to begin work for Brunswick.
Well, I'm sure they're happy to have you and all your experience that you bring with you. Well, let's talk a little bit about your background and your education. What does it take, like certification-wise or education-wise, to become a manager of plant engineering?
Okay, June, my experience or my education, I have an undergraduate degree in health systems management and also have a master's degree in MBA, both from East Carolina University. I also hold a national certification in healthcare facilities management. So I guess the combination of those things and quite a bit of experience has kind of placed me where I am.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yeah.
Well, Darren, let's talk a little bit about Brunswick Novant Medical Center. Now, as you said, it's a beautiful facility, and it's very much larger than the older one. How much square footage is there at the new facility?
June, we actually have 252,000 square feet at the new site.
Wow.
Our old site was 75,000. That'll give you a little comparison of how much larger we are. The old site, we were obviously 1 floor, and now we have a 4-floor complex geared toward patient safety. It was designed with safety and patient and family comfort in mind. Our patient rooms are almost twice as large as the rooms at the old facility.
And they're all private, right?
All private.
With
all
their
private.
own bathrooms?
Own
and
bathrooms, own TV, own
Wow.
heat and air controls, yeah. So far and above where we were. Just a great place to come receive your care.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Well, since it is so large, how large is your staff that's necessary to take care of a facility that size?
June, my staff, actually, we have 5 staff, 4 full-time and 1 part-time, and myself.